Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back and a very good afternoon to all of you. We are back again after a fantastic panel discussion session on dairy and beverage fortification, challenges and opportunities. And we had with us a plethora of experts on this particular subject of dairy and fortification and beverage fortification, where they discuss about the various aspects and how it is closely related to the food, nutrition, and overall food, beverage, and dairy nutrition scenario in India, especially in a post-COVID-19 scenario. I would like to thank Mr. Prashant Bhatt, the Honorable Moderator, for wonderfully moderating the panel. And my thanks to all the Honorable panel members who have joined in. Special thanks to Megha from Hexagon for being part of this panel and taking the discussion also with the panel members. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to another powerful panel discussion session on technology transforming the food and the dairy industry. And to be part of this panel, we have our expert panel members who are the champions of this particular domain and topic from the food dairy industry in India. And they are the ideal experts to talk on this particular subject in the context of the food, beverage, and dairy nutrition scenario in India. I would like to introduce the panel members in the order of the sequence. Mr. Dharmendra Bhalla, CEO, Govind Milk and Milk Products. Mr. Bhalla, welcome to the panel and a warm welcome to. Good afternoon, Mr. Bhalla. Joining Mr. Bhalla, Dr. K. Bhaskara Setupati, Director, Tirumala Milk, Lactalis. Dr. Setupati, welcome to the panel discussion session.
Good afternoon.
Joining them, we have Mr. Shammi Agarwal, Managing Director of Pansari Group. Shammi, welcome to the panel.
Good afternoon, Sumeji. Thank you.
Joining them, we have Mr. Ravindranath Chatterjee, DGM R&D from Innovative Foods Limited. Ravindranath, welcome to the panel. And we have Mr. Vivek Shirsagar, Managing Director, Katraj Dairy. Vivek, welcome to the panel.
Good afternoon.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a fantastic panel of experts with us who needs no introduction. They are the champions in this respective domain. I would request our honorable moderator, Dr. Setupati, to kindly take the control of the panel and take this discussion ahead. And just before all the panel members start their introduction and topic, and Dr. Setupati, I am extremely delighted to inform all the honorable panel members that currently we have exactly 1,513 delegates watching this session live. So I am sure the numbers are going to increase when experts like you talk, and all the questions coming from the audience would be directed to you, and the honorable panel members and the moderator has a full right to answer these questions as and when they feel absolutely necessary. All the best, gentlemen. Thank you so much. All over to you.
Thank you for your introduction. Now, there's an important topics about how the technology transforming the food industries and dairy industries. So we have 4 different eminent panelists in our team. I think Dr. Dharmendra Bhalla is leading a dairy industrialist, and Vivek is from dairy industry leading, and then we got Sami Agarwal is the Ample Products and he's the leading marketer, and then we have Ravindranath. So first of all, I thank the Synex groups for giving an opportunity for all the panel members and all of us. And unfortunately, we are missing 2 of our panelists here. One, I think Dr. Manika Vasam, today he was tested positive for COVID, and another, Dr. Naresh Goyal, I think he lost his father. So we have to be very careful in these environment situations. Let's start with the panel. I think I can introduce the Sami Agarwal to talk about how this technology is transforming this ambient body. Let's over to Sami.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Dr. Sir. And I would like to thank Synex for giving us this opportunity for telling everybody how technology is transforming in our industry. Well, I represent Pansari Group. We are the leading manufacturers of edible oils, rice and spices based out of Delhi and supplying to all over India. How we see technology as it starts from the first stage, from the procurement to process to sales. Everywhere the technology is needed. When we say from procurement, we have to check the yield of the seeds or even at the spices from where to buy the products. Means technology has played such a vital role in identifying the identifying, you can say identifying the raw material properly with a database of with a proper management of data. We can see, we can derive what we have to buy, what we don't have to buy. Proper inventory management system. It all is driven by technology. So I would say not only in our industry, I'm very sure in all the industry, technology is driving for all the data we have. Once we talk about, say, procurement, if I talk about procurement of oil, say, so since we have a factory in Rajasthan where 70% or more than 70% of the Indian crop is produced over there, or mustard seeds. So every business of dairy business or every food business, they have to be very conscious while choosing the place where the business should take place. It should be very near to the procurement places, and it's also, you can say, it's also geographically driven, but it's more of a science behind it. You can say in India it's region wise divided. Punjab is a belt of rice, Rajasthan is a belt of mustard, say. In south we see more of spices. So everywhere it's a proper need of technology. The technology drives which conditions are better for which places. These days government is also emphasizing on fortifications, like with respect to our industry. In oil it's kind of compulsory, vitamin A and D and E is added to have a proper nutrition value for all the human beings consuming it. And I think we know what phases India is going through. So immunity plays a very important role in this environment. Even in some sectors, rice fortification has also been started. It has not been compulsory yet, but since government is working on it, and I'm pretty sure with respect of fortification of rice as well, so the immunity of people will be on a better off. Now moving on to how we use technology in our processes, in company processes with respect to production. How what is the use of technology used in terms of sales with respect to production? As you mentioned, we every business has to monitor their stock stock inventory and stock turnover ratio. How fast your stock is moving, because we all food business are is majorly into perishable products. If not consumed within time, means excess stock can also be a damage to us, and below less the stock is also is not a good sign for a business. So with respect to technology, we maintain uh, how best we can increase the shelf life of the product. Maybe if you say with respect to rice and spices, we have to flush nitrogen to increase the life of the product. Maybe at times we have to add additives which increase the life of the product while exporting the products. In oils, you see how the bottles, how the use of plastic bottle has been increasing. But to have a strengthening bottle, we have to do a liquid dosing of nitrogens to have a strong bottles. So these are all a small technology points which every business in our industry is taking care to ensure what best can be delivered to consumers. Now if I talk about with respect to sales, how technology is driving sales. Now each one of us or many businesses have sales team, and we need to track the sales record. Not we have to police them all the time, but we have to proper have a management system that what is the sales they are doing, how much how much time they are employing on the field. Or maybe you can say we have to make an artificial intelligence system for them so that automated systems are being driven. If you see a consumer is if a shopkeeper is a consumer is ordering, say, this much product every week, so then you have to maintain your inventory accordingly. Technology has given us such an edge that all the dealer distributor network or all the retailers network, we can drive the sales. We can have the predict the numbers, see what's gonna be in future. Further, with respect to sales, we read a lot in the newspaper that due to digitalizations, online sales has been a great success in last an year. Matlab, you can say the local kirana shops or local vendors, their quantum market share is decreasing, but online sales is increasing day by day or month by month. So with respect to technology only, we have to focus on all the horizons where the sales can take place, how what best can be done with respect to sales of on online portals. You have to play with keywords, how the consumer see yourself first, see your product first, see your brands first. So in my opinion, I think technology is transforming not only the food industry, it's transforming every industry. And if we are not getting ourselves updated, once we get a technology, then we see a better technology, then we have to see the pros and cons, how to take it further. We have to keep training our teams, how we have to keep doing R&D, and all the processes audits, how efficient can we do it. So I think this was all from my side. If you have any questions, we can take it at the end of the meeting as well. And if you want to take any questions right now, we can take it right now as well. So now I would like to request Dr. Saab to please take the lead and do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sami, for discussing about your experience in the food and ambient food experience, how the technology is used. So I will share one of my experience when I visited Israel, how they control the flow of material from, because they are producing the huge vegetables there, but they are supplying to European countries because they know about how they will know about what is the sales in each shops in Europe and how and they will transfer these products from the common area to the next day morning it will reach the place. That's why the technology is used. Okay, now I'll go to Ravindranath. I think it's an interesting subject on how the frozen products, the technology is used for frozen products. Yes, over to Ravindranath.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sethupathi, for the introduction, and Mr. Shami for the introduction about and speaking on the ambient side of the food spectrum. So now I am Ravindranath, and I am part of R&D for almost 1.5 decades now. So within the culinary field, and then having almost for the past 8 years now having been a part of R&D and working on especially on frozen and chilled products for some of the leading QSRs of the country. So to speak about my R&D experience, I was with OSI Group. They are also a global player into the food service area, and currently I am working for Innovative Foods Limited, and we have a brand called Someru, and we have a range of products right from ambient to primarily in frozen, and then in ambient, and then chilled condition as well. So in order to now, since I represent this sector, so let me give you some exposure as to how technology has revolutionized the food production scenario in the frozen food space. So now technology is been such an integral part of our lives. Now imagine a consumer, right from the way he orders the foods and to the last mile delivery, he can track the entire process of how the food gets delivered to him to the last, in keeping the sensory parameters impact. So well, we can speak about technology to no end. There is so much to talk about, but then some of the major key takeaways, some of the major areas that I want to focus on is are the main three pillars, I would say. So one of them is how technology has driven the affordability quotient for a developing country like India. Now, just to put my whole thought into perspective, just so I would ask you to just imagine and process this. So, giving an example of on all the leading QSRs, and also compare to your fine dining restaurants of your choice. So just process this. So given your favorite brand of QSR, their entry level menu starts at something around 55 to 70 rupees range. And so what is that product? So it is a entry level burger. If I what does the burger contain? It has got a bun, it has got a sauce, it has got a salad, it has got a patty. Now imagine all these raw materials, all the products that goes in making of this, each of the raw material of the finished goods I mentioned about. The best quality raw materials are used, in procurement to the last level traceability. And be it bread, be it the salad, be it the sauce, be it the patties, there is a traceability of every raw material that comes in, and there's a immense amount of expenditure on the quality control, on the way the quality is maintained, and especially the factories where they're produced, where all the GMP, good manufacturing practices are so immensely important. So everything is so tracked precisely to the end, even with the way the products are shipped to the respective locations. Um, with the logistic support, with we have tried all these years with the refinement going in, so they have been left no stones unturned. So even the vehicles carrying the product with the right temperature, are all data logger controlled to the last, to the major, to the end consumer, that is the stores. So, and now imagine the kind of cost that is incurred in maintaining all these protocols and practices, then delivering the product at which is of the highest quality, and that too at a price range of 55 to 70. It's a boon, I would say, for a country like India. And now imagine, compared to a fine dine restaurant, wherein if you just to put things into perspective, just one bread, it would cost you something around 40 to 80 rupees. That is the price range. And I'm not even getting the accompaniments and the side dishes that you order along with it. So imagine the price disparity, where a quality product, where everything can be traced and tracked, and then in your fine dine, it's of everyone's guess, what kind of quality protocols somebody. Yeah, people are meticulous, they are very quality conscious, they do, but then not everybody falls into the same thought process. So how do you achieve that? Now the major question coming to is, how do you achieve that? So it is because of the economies of scale. So because of the leveraging of technology, you are able to run your factory to super efficient levels, which makes it possible to, bring down the production cost of every component that I spoke about, and to the kind of quality and the kind of raw material that goes into it is one of the best in the segment. Because being into the segment, I am into NPD, and we create products, create concepts for them. And so we are aware of each and every step that goes, and they are so quality. So for every QSR, they take huge pride in them, and in order to maintain that trust factor, so there is a stringent quality checks and audit checks that happens in every step of the process. So now, who is the winner of this of this entire equation? It is the consumers. For a country of the size of India and the population size of India, where I believe for every consumer, it's a fundamental right to have access to the right quality of food and the hygienic food, and especially at an affordable price. And affordability quotient will not be possible without leveraging technology. So that is one of the major, role that technology plays in today's generation. So they give quality food, safe food, hygienic food at a super prices. So that is one of the major boon, I would say, for a country like ours, which is expanding. So now I move on to my second product. I move on to my second point. That is standardization and creating sensory experiences for your consumers. So how does any brand be it? So it could be in the sauce, it could be in this dairy, it could be in the ambient second. How do you bring customer loyalty? So it is very important to have repeat buys, and to have create the right impact with the consumers. And one of the major important point that helps us deliver that is to keep the quality and the sensory experience consistent. So standardization plays a huge role, and without technology we will not be able to achieve it. So imagine processing tons of product on a day-to-day basis, be it dairy, be it any segment, with oil, as Mr. Shami mentioned, oils and rice. So they deal in tons of goods on a day-to-day basis. Even in my domain, when we deal with veggies, non-veg products like chicken, mutton. But then so creating product which lives up to the customer expectations batch after batch with the same sensory experience. So that is of paramount importance. So also technology gives us, a leeway in order to create the right sensory experiences. Because imagine everybody has got their own loyal brand to go, whenever they want to have a sensory experience. So imagine, you love any of your products, and the next time the product fails to live up to your expectations. So that's where the problem would lie in. Consumer will lose trust on the brand. Consumers will lose faith in the brand. So in order to maintain that, so hence technology helps us maintain those very vital parameters which connects with the brand, gives them the sensory experience every time that they crave for, and for which the consumer goes to a particular brand of product. So hence, without technology, it is very important, very difficult to achieve that. And also, also in maintaining the overall shelf stability with the right sensory parameters. Without technology, for example, today we have got right, to the way the products are stored, then they are, transported. So there is technology in every step. There are smart packaging solutions now, which are oxygen scavenging, and then you have got modified atmospheric packaging, which, for example, chips will not taste the way they taste if you don't, pack them the right way. People say that, the laymen say that they feel air and give. It's not air, it's nitrogen flush, because nitrogen flush will keep your, first of all, it does two jobs. It gives the cushion that it requires to keep the chips fresh and they do not get crushed during the transportation. It provides the adequate cushioning, and also the nitrogen element, helps to keep the oxidation away. So so this is just an example. So there is in every step, even frozen food, freezing being one of the freezing, the right freezing methodology is so important to keep maintain the freshness of the ingredients right from the time it's produced until the time it reaches the consumers in safe manner. So that is the second point that I wanted to focus on. So that is standardization. Without standardization, it's very difficult to live up to have the right brand loyalty for your products, and to keep the expectations of the product at the higher level, and also most importantly to reach the height and to sustain it. That is the most important fact. And third, and the third point that I want to make, which is the third pillar, I would say, is to provide, apart from being quality consistent and affordability, the third most important factor is to ensure the safety parameters, the safety, the hygiene. So imagine, just to put my point into perspective, every food industry, be it dairy, be it my frozen space, so we deal with lots of perishable goods, especially even the oil seeds. So there are highly perishable in nature, and they are very susceptible to microbial contamination if not processed in the right time frame within the right and temperature combinations. So how do you do that? Every day you have tons of liters of milk being harvested. You have got tons of vegetables and meat produced. Especially these are very vulnerable food products, be it in all this, they're highly perishable in nature. So then it's only through technology you can able to do justice to the produce, and to prevent, and especially in a food deficient country like India, where inflation is going on because of the loss of crops, and there are so many seasonal parameters. So you do not want your produce to go waste. So that is the last thing that any processor would want. So every should be able to extract the most effort, most out of every produce that the farmer who puts his hard work and labor, into the producing that. So justice has to be met. So without technology, we will not be able to do that. So imagine, the people in the processing of milk, in the processing of meat and fish. So it's so highly vulnerable. So it's only with the right technology, and also to maintain the quality parameters and the sensory parameters. So without the right technologies in place, you will not be able to meet those expectations. So now another, apart from that, I am not getting into too details about, that everybody has been listening to, but then what macro, view about on the overall holistic view is how important. Without technology, you will never be able to, do justice to the amount of food that gets processed in India, and especially and only when you have the right yields, only when you have the right produce and they are not getting waste, you will have the economies of scale benefit, and then only the affordability factor. And with affordability, masses will be able to buy it to the latest, the last strata of the masses. They will also be able to have the access to the right quality of food. So now with the, with this ever evolving food scenario, we are just only going, the market is only increasing with the latest KPMG report. So we are about to grow by 20,000 crores by 2025. The last research was done in 2020, which was last year. And what they have pegged that we will grow by 20,000 crores. And that's a humongous amount. And we have to scale up, and all the respective
Yes.
areas, all the respective products
Yes,
have to
Ravi.
scale up.
Ravi, please finish it in the next 1 minute, please.
Yeah. So I would like to sum up with this 3 pillars, so which are important. And with my closing comments would be, future is technology, technology is future. Thank you. Dr.
Thank you.
Sethupathi, back to you.
Thank you, Ravi, for discussing about the 3 main pillars of your industries, that is quality, standardization, and safety. Now I request Dharmendra Balla.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Syntex, for inviting me. I'll be talking more about the role of technology in the dairy industry and the information technology that has improved a lot. And with a click of button, you are able to get all the information about the product or their traceability. The sensors and the instruments are in the field, and you get all the information through the net or ERP or SAP to your desktop, where it helps you to take appropriate decisions. For example, in the farm, dairy farm, we have technology to track quality and quantity of milk at your desktop only. Similarly, the health of cows can also be monitored through technology, through maybe a neck device or a leg device, where the movement of the cows are tracked, and in case they are not well, you can track the movements and know whether the cow is sick or not. Similarly, we can control the environment where the cows are sitting, or they have their shed, through fogging and controlling the temperatures during summers, so that the cows are not stressed and they are producing the highest yields. So the yield also improves by this technology. These days, we have the robotic herding, robotic milking in the dairies, which help the farmers to have a clean and hygienic milk without even touching the udders of the cows. Similarly, these days, even the drones are being used and satellites are being used to track the herds and cows when they are in the pastures. The farms, the dairy farms are also managed using farm management technologies and applications. We can daily track the and monitor the record keeping of the cows and health of the animals. Then similarly, the biotechnology also helps us in reducing the disease resistance of the cows, and similarly, the technologies like AI, vaccination, embryo technology are all helping to produce better breeds, more yields of the milk, so that the yield is increased. Artificial intelligence is put into the instruments, and we know how the yield is there, what is the health of the cows, and how they are behaving now. And next in the dairy, we have the supply chain technology, where we monitor the milk quantity, temperatures at the BMC levels, their quality at BMC level. We track the milk through the tankers, through GPS systems, which is again a technology-driven portal. This can reduce the distance between the movements of the trucks. We can monitor the temperatures of the trucks during the transport. This will bring fresh and clean milk to the dairies. Similarly, blockchain is being used for the total traceability of the milk from the procurement up to the consumer, through maybe QR codes and other such applications. And these days, the consumers, they also prefer brands which give them a clean and transparent system, so that they can monitor the things what they have ordered. This also reflects the values of the company once they give the traceability and the total transparency to the consumer. Then we have the datafication of all the processes. This helps in process improvements, forecasting models. We can increase even the consumption of the products through the consumer engagements, through the information technology. These days, the growth can be by engaging the customers in your total setup, so that they have a clean and outside food which is safe and without any hazard. These days, we have the mass customization of the products, which is more of tailor-made for each segment of the consumer needs. Technology innovation as Industry 4.0 allows customization and flexibility. And this helps in reducing the waste and improving the efficiency of the processes. This is a part of smart factories. So technology is helping the industry to optimize its processes and efficiencies. Then this is the Internet of Things is the next thing that has improved a lot in the past few years. This has increased the agility and reduced the risks and optimized the performances. Bioinformatics is another technology for active ingredients and their interactions for potential uses in the desired outcomes. For example, these days we have substitute milks. For example, rice milk, oat milk, and to get the desired flavors near to the milk, technologies are available to match the taste and flavor of the natural milks. Then we have the few technologies that have come up in the past few years are, say, supercooling is one of the technology where the products are cooled in such a time and temperature combination that they are near to hibernating rather than the frozen products. Consumers these days, they prefer a product which has the flavor and the texture which is close to the natural product. So supercooling technology, for example, gives the right kind of temperatures and combination, so that which is better than even the frozen products. And these also don't require defrosting, and preservatives anyway are not being used. And second technology, for example, which has come lately is high pressure processing. High pressure processing is subjecting the product to very high temperatures, very high pressures, to the tune of around 6,000 bar, where the pathogens are killed and the product can be stored at 4 degrees temperature thereafter. Raw pressery, for example, is producing juices in India, which is being used for juices at present. So heat technology is not being used in this shelf life increasing of the products. Then the other technologies like electrical impedance spectroscopy for rapid detection of and identification and quantification of microbes is being used. Similarly, technologies like ultrasound, which gives a mechanical and a chemical effect to the product, is being used for homogenizing, mixing, and even cleaning of certain equipments.
Last 1 minute.
We have low water activity products. Vacuum frying is another technology where the rancidity, for example, the oil becomes rancid early if it's heated much. So a vacuum frying technology reduces the rancidity rate, and product can be better for a longer period of time.
Balla, please finish it in the next 1 minute.
Yeah.
Please finish it in the next 1 minute.
Okay. We have other processes like transcription processes through selective binding, then mastitis detection, EIO diagnostics, blockchain technologies, then flavor enhancements. We have synthetic milk being made through microbes these days, which can have whey and casein without lactose. So technologies are making new products which are close to the consumer needs, and similarly the packaging technologies with modified air or oxygen scavengers and other things are being used so that the products reach to the consumers in the right flavor and in the right requirement of the consumers. So all these new processes are redefining the food processing, making food safer, efficient, increasing the flexibility, mitigating hazards,
Yeah, Bala,
to
please.
the information technology. That's it. Thank you for my side.
Thank you. Thank you, Dharmendra Bala, for your valuable inputs from farms to products. Now I request Vivek.
Good afternoon, and thanks to Silex Group and my co-panelists. Uh, I am exactly focusing on how the technology can help to meet the changing customer demands. During this COVID pandemic, we have seen that ice creams, ice cream sale was it was below level, and it was having a very much reverse effect. But Paneer, Srikhand, and Amrakhand they have uplifted, and milk was more consumed by the farmers, but consumed by farmers as well as customers, and they have using the different types of putting turmeric in it. Apart from that, even though the India is number one in the milk production, but unfortunately, nobody is focusing on per capita milk availability, so that more and more people should have more consumption of milk, because it is a healthier milk, and it is having a more nutritious values from the minerals, vitamins, proteins, then lactose like sugar, fat, so that it is a complete food. But we have to focus on the sort of advertisement and consumer education. It is very much essential. And on the other side, some agencies they may defame the milk, and they go on telling the different stories of adulteration, which is hampering the dairy industry. And we don't have the proper coordination amongst us. In my opinion, milk is not a competitor of another milk, but milk is competed by the sort of a tea, coffee, and soft drinks and hard drinks. So in Pune, I have observed that we are having a 700 retailers, but other tea, coffee, two different types of drinks, their outlets are more than 22,000. So these are the figures where the employment can be generated through dairy industry, and the youths can be accommodated in this way. Technology should be for the welfare from the producer level to the customer level. It should not burden on the business. We just a few times we say like this: the pig has become a bigger than a cow. So technology, when it should give proper justice and quality measurements and the expectations from both producers and consumers, then only the technology will be in true sense it is useful. When the milk is available fresh, and it can be served to the consumers unnecessarily, it should not be for the technology's sake. It should not be converted into the Tetra Pak and having the more charges on that. Secondly, the consumers they should be constantly educated, and they should be given some wrong beliefs if they have. They should be removed from their minds, because dairy industry is good for their health. Dairy industry is good for to balance the rural and urban areas. Then it is good for economics between the rural and urban areas, and it will avoid the overflooding of the cities, and getting the barrening in the rural area. So we should form. We should form that. I request the Science Group that we should form just like the National Egg Coordination Committee, where the only advertisement, the goodness of egg, and whether the egg is produced from, say, government sector or cooperative sector or private sector or one brand from Amul, yeah, our brand like Katraj, it doesn't matter. But we should have a national dairy coordination committee where they should take the lead that milk dairy industry should be flourished, and the more and more knowledge about the dairy industry is to be made available for the consumers, and they should be get aware and they should consume more and more milk. When we thought about the developed countries like Israel and USA, where the per capita milk consumption is more than 1.2 liters, where we are crossing 300 ml. So if we want to pass our journey in future, we have to improve more than 3 to 4 times. So this will be a really good chance with the proper use of technology. The dairy industry can solve the nutritional problems, financial problems, and then balancing rural and urban areas and getting the jobs for the youths. Um, in this way, with the technology, we can improve the national milk grid, where the area of India or whole world, where there is a deficit of milk and milk products naturally, the another country or another part of the country that can be overflooded with the milk, that can milk can be passed to the deficit area. So the freshness of milk that should be used and lesser the processing cost. It should be curtailed and the proper information to be given for the consumers and farmers as well as to maintain the quality. Maintain the quality, we should make compulsion for the FSSI standards or ISO 22000 or quality mark which is from NDP. So one should take the lead and we should give quality milk for the whole society. Then the dairy sector is such a sector. It can accommodate all the sectors because dairy business, even the COVID pandemic, cow has to give milk 2 times a day. We can't stop. So milk is produced. Milk is to be processed. Milk is to be distributed and it should be consumed in a peculiar time. So dairy can help the agriculture industry for their distribution, the different types of spices industry, different types of farmers' goods, and even we can compare just like, for example, we are vaccinating the animals. At that time, we give different types of education to the farmers. Why vaccination is very important.
Vivek,
Same
last 1
thing
minute.
to
Last 1 minute, please.
to the same we can follow with our human practices. So technology is a boon to the business, and the business should take care from the producers to consumers in an equal, justified way. Then only the technology can be boon to all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vivek, for your contributions. So I thank all the panel members for giving an excellent speech on this. And I will give some more points that is, so in India in dairy, so we have to handle around from the 17 million farmers, small farmers, because our farmers are able to produce around 8 to 10 liters per day. We need to handle milk, how the technology will help us to improve, because this is a highly perishable product. And this perishable product, how we are going to improve the shelf life. So now the latest technologies like a can cooler, immersed cooler, and maybe the small bulk cooler level at farms, it's all coming because we need to utilize this. Companies are ready to do investment in order to protect our quality of the milk because because what happened here is how quickly we have to chill the milk and that will increase the shelf life. This is the most important indicator. So this is number one, the import technology. And regarding the farmers, they are almost small marginal farmers. Almost 80% of the milk is contributed by small and marginal farmers. How the technology will help the small farmers is most important. For them, two things. One is now the tagging of all the animals, maybe RFID or maybe barcoding tags, so we can track all the animals record about the productivity, maybe pregnancy diagnosis, and now the latest technologies are available how to detect the pregnancy diagnosis in 28 days or 30 days with the milk, because these type of technologies will help us farmers not to lose more money for the next 2 to 3 months, because most of the areas farmers do the pregnancy diagnosis after 3 months. Now the latest technology, this will help us the farmers to reduce the I think non-pregnant day by at least farmer know about what to treat and how to go for the next. So this type of technology and the breeding, I hope my friend Vivek talked about Israel production, and here I saw when I visited Israel, some of the animals I saw the production per day is around 100 to 110 liters, whereas this 100 to 110 liters it is produced by 20 farmers here. Okay, so you see the difference, the technology differences here. The issue here is now the latest technology, that is genomic salmon or sex salmon, it is coming here. So we are going with an advanced technology. The issue here is and how to manage the feed. The feed is a big topic. We can discuss in one day entire feed management. A lot of fodders are developed and a lot of universities are developed now. And the latest varieties of Co5, that is Bajra Napier grass Co5, it is coming with 14% protein. And when you start using these type of fodders, this will reduce the cost of production to the farmers. When the reduction in the cost of production to the farmer will get a better profitability. And we are all thinking that only the maize can be used only for silage. There is a lot of other fodders to be used for silage. The difference between the maize and Co5, what I'm discussing here, is only the carb, the energy portion. So this we can replace with around 10 to 15% crushed maize can be incorporated. I did a research on this, and the nutritive energy value wise, it is much better nutritive value than others. Okay. Number two. Number three, we need to work on now the direct farm sellings concept, that is B2B and B2C is coming. A lot of big dairy farms now they have created a small app and selling the milk at consumer level. It's all coming now. The ATM, like ATM centers, anytime milk is available at disposal. So the technology is there, and the most important technology, how we are going to utilize the data. I think Dharmendra is covered about how the data is going to be used as to forecast our milk. Even if we are managing the dairy animals data, maybe like Herdman software or maybe productivity details, we can predict about what will be our production from our farmers maybe the next 3 months. This is the most important, how the technology will be used. And third, how not only we are going to manage it, and we need to work on how this data logger will help us to monitor our chilling efficiency of the bulk cooler, whether what is the energy power consumption, because cost also plays a major role. And not only this, we need to track our vehicle movements, whether the time and motion study is most important in case of raw milk transfer, whether any issues are happened, what is the quality of the milk. So the technology is available all across. This is up to us how efficiently we are using the technology. There are, I think from farmers said, there are some call center concepts are already available. The technology or for insemination, breeding, all this farmer can call over call, like call center concept, it is available. So the technology is there for development of all these industries. It is how efficiently we are using this technology that is most important for better efficiency and better productivity. Thank you. Can you go for questioners?
Yeah, I think there is one question.
Yeah, one question for Samir.
Yeah. So with respect to pesticides and residuals, with respect to pesticides and residuals or spices, it's eco.
Yes, the question is for you regarding these pesticides.
Yeah, generally for exports, what we do is we do a ETO treatment, which is again a technological part in which what you do is it's like a sterilization of the food ingredients. You you store the spices in a container and you put ethylene oxide gas, which what it does it sterilizes the all the material, and it increases the life of the material. So it claims to be no pesticides, it's pesticide free. And for metals, every industry have a metal detector. It's like a quite simple process in which you have a metal detector while packing the product or while processing the processes. So sterilization for spices for exports, ETO is the method which we use and which is widely used in the spices industry to do a treatment for spices against pesticides. I hope it should answer the problem.
I hope.
Thank you, dear panel members, and thank you, Dr. Bhaskar Sethupathi, for wonderfully moderating the panel. And I think it was a very, very crisp, to the point, and very well-rounded discussion between all the expert panel members that we have here today. And once again, congratulations for having a very successful panel, and congratulations to all the panel members for sharing their thoughts and views. I'm sure this is actually going to benefit all the attendees who are watching this live and witnessing this particular panel session. So with that, I would like to conclude this particular panel session. Again, Dr. Bhaskar Sethupathi, wonderfully moderating this panel. Thank you so much for all the preparations that you have done, and each and every panel member, Mr. Bhalla, Dr. Sri Sagar, Mr. Chatterjee, and Mr. Agarwal, thank you for being in this panel and for giving your time. Especially, gentlemen, I would like to again thank you that you took out time from your extremely busy schedules in a working Friday to give time to this knowledge platform. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and we will again see you, and we'll be glad to host you in the next edition of the India Food Nutrition Summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.